Howdy, everyone. Matt here, Matt the PT, coming at you again to talk about another topic that I see pop up every once in a while. But first, thank you for tuning in. Thank you all who have subscribed, liked the videos as well. If you're enjoying it, please, again, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to put these out every week or as much as I can. And if you enjoy the video, hit that like and throw a comment down below. If you want to jump in on the discussion or help me if I misspeak about something, it's good to have that dialogue to talk about these things. So the thing I want to talk about today is something I see pop up every few months or so, and that is the DPT, the Doctorate of Physical Therapy. And mainly what I see pop up is that it's somebody starts talking about how the DPT was the worst thing that the profession could have done. It's done nothing to advance the profession. It just puts us more in debt. And they go on and on and on and on. Typically, when I see people do that, typically they're trying to sell something. So it's like, okay, you're getting something that's going to elicit an emotion in people. So it just riles up, gets engagement, stuff like that. So what I see. The big thing I see about it, and that I really do believe, is that we honestly need to quit complaining about it. And the reason why I say that is that we're not going to get rid of it. Schools aren't going to go backwards. So they're not going to say, hey, we're going to get rid of the doctorate and we're going to go back to a master's or a bachelor's. I don't see them doing that. So it's kind of like this is here to stay. We can't change the past. I mean, really think about stuff that's went on in your life. And, a decision that you made at some point a year, 5 years, 10 years ago that puts you into a different spot. Can you go back and change that? No, we can't change it. We have to accept what we have now and go forward on it. Now, I do want to say some other stuff about the doctorate. One, now I actually do not have a doctorate of physical therapy, so I don't have the DPT. I have a master's in physical therapy. So when I graduated in 2010, I was one of 9 programs left in the country that were still master's level, but they were trying to get the doctorate into the school I went to. They were trying to. So they had changed the curriculum. So I have actually met all the criteria for a doctorate. I just don't have one, along with having the diploma in MDT and the fellowship. So I've kind of done it all, but I just don't have it. So, but I am passionate about stuff that's in the profession, and I do like listening to people and talking about these things because it is something that does affect us. Now, another thing, and I see this and I find this is so dumb, when people want to start arguing about you're not a real doctor or calling yourself doctor, and they say stuff, mainly they're just being a troll. And again, when people start that crap, it's just best just to ignore them. Are they going to change their mind? No. People just don't change their mind on things like that. Even though you can show them all the evidence of yes, your primary care is a doctor, the surgeon is a doctor, but your optometrist is a doctor, and a psychologist is a doctor, and my veterinarian is a doctor, and my English teacher in college was a doctor. So it's a degree awarded. So that's what it is. It's a degree awarded. So you can call yourself doctor on it. So if you want to call yourself doctor, call yourself doctor. It makes it sound cooler when you get a reservation. Dr. Smith, whatever. Oh, it's cool. The other thing I see people talk about is that people are like, why do we have this double designation? What's PT, DPT? They find it so redundant. It's 2 separate things. Please correct me if I'm wrong or incorrect on this. But it's 2 separate things. So the DPT is your degree, and your PT is the insignation or something that when you've passed your licensure exam, that you become a physical therapist. So you can have the DPT after your name, but if you've never passed the exam, you cannot use PT. So yeah, that shows that 1, that you've passed the licensure exam, and 2, that you have a degree on it. So I've heard of people, there's actually some big time people that portray themselves saying, oh, I'm a doctorate of physical therapy, but they never say PT because they don't have the exam. They don't have the license. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, again, getting back to the DPT being the worst decision that the APTA and that we ever could have made and all that. So again, we just kind of have to deal with it. I'm on the fence. I don't know if it's really the best decision we could have made, but also I don't know if it's really the worst decision we ever could have made on it. I believe that the main intentions behind it were very good. They really believed in it. Now, I've talked to a few people over the years about why it went to a doctorate level. One person who was in academia, who was a part of a school that was part of a larger network of schools through the state, said that in the 90s, with the changes in Medicare, that there were people that were very afraid of going into medicine. And they had one of their PT programs that only had 9 people in it. And so they said, look, if we make this a higher level degree, it's possibly going to entice more people in it because we don't want to have this shortage down the line on it. So that's just one thing I've heard from them. I have not heard it from anyone else. It was just one person who worked in academia. Now, I do believe the main thing what I've talked with people about is that it was to help us become more autonomous with our profession. Because with getting laws passed for like direct access and needling and, referrals for like imaging and medications and those things, that having that doctorate level education looks much better to politicians when getting this stuff put into law, into our Practice Act. Now, I don't want to get into the whole ins and outs of passing laws and dealing with politicians and stuff like that. That's a whole other talk into itself. But mainly when you're dealing with a politician, you're dealing with somebody who has very, very limited knowledge of what we do as physical therapists because they're not physical therapists. They often don't work in healthcare. If they are from healthcare, they're an old physician. Somebody that has got in there and they've been, in this position for 20 years and practice. They don't see patients and they don't know what we do. Heck, the doctors that refer to us don't even know what we do half the time. But the politicians, they're trying to make decisions across many things. So of course, healthcare, education, agriculture, the business of your area, your state, your location. So you're trying to make decisions across all of these things. So you're just kind of looking at stuff at face value on it. So if you have a group coming to you that says like, oh, they just have like a certificate and they want to have people just coming directly to them, it's like, oh, okay, that doesn't really seem safe. Where again, you can have, like the AMA and the Chiropractor Association coming forward saying, oh, look, they don't have this high level of education, and you don't allow this. I did see that. I heard that from somebody in Georgia when they were working with getting direct access, that the Chiropractic Association was coming at them saying about their transitional doctorate and saying like, oh, they have to do wound care. So they just take these videos and they just do it all online. And so they were trying to attack the transitional and the doctorate based on the online component. Well, then somebody brought up, they said, Georgia Tech has online programs. And so you're saying those programs at Georgia Tech are not very good? And they really backed off on that because Georgia Tech is like their pride and joy. There's a very, very good institution. It's a very, very good school. And so it really backed them off when they brought it. Was like, hey, Georgia Tech has that. So it got through. So I could see saying, hey, if we make this a doctorate level, that they had very good intentions, make it a doctorate level, that it's going to help the profession down the line. But, and this is something I tell people a lot too, life happens. We have these grand plans of something, but life happens. Things change, something comes up, and it goes, think of a decision or something that you made or something that you wanted, when you were in high school. You have these plans of what this is going to go out, but then things happen and you try to adjust. And a lot of stuff is probably out of your control. I mean, think about what just happened a couple of years ago. That was totally out of all of our control. But we had to adjust and adapt to it. So I believe that's really what happened is they had very, very good idea and belief that, hey, this is going to be something very, very good for the profession going forward. But stuff happened. So would we have known that the cost of school was going to go up so much? I'm not happy about that. And again, that's probably another talk onto itself. The cost of school going up so much. The things like reimbursement, so what we're getting paid from insurance companies, going down. Seeing wages that aren't really reflecting the degree in what we do. So was that something that was really on their mind? I mean, hopefully when you're planning that out, you want to think of everything, and that includes the positives and the negatives. And if the negatives outweigh the positives, we shouldn't do it. But was that a part of their thought? Or were they thinking, okay, we don't believe that this is going to happen, or seeing, hey, these are the trends and things that are going on now, and we expect them to keep going, things change. Now, I do like to pose this question, and I posed it a few times in it. If we lived in an alternate universe, and saying that we never went to the doctorate, that it was still a bachelor's or a master's. We have no knowledge on it. We got the thing and we erased, we went to the alternate universe, and it's this, it's the DPT does not exist, and we never knew it existed. Would we be having some of the same complaints and same issues that we are fighting with now? Would people be saying that wages don't reflect the degree of education that we do? Would reimbursement rates still be going down? And would we still be saying we do so much work for so little money? And would we be fighting over the fact saying, like, we don't have enough autonomy, we still have to get referrals from doctors, we still have to send patients to doctors, and insurance companies don't listen to that, we should have a higher level? Would we be saying those things? Now, it is, again, as my dad says, if, you can say if all we want, and if a bullfrog had wings, it wouldn't bump its butt. A little Southern saying there. And we say that as like, again, you're asking all these if questions. We don't know. But honestly, could that be something we think about? Like, if we were in an alternate timeline and the DPT did not exist, would we be having similar discussions and talks and things going forward on it? So just something to think about. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Let me hear your ideas or thoughts or beliefs or anything like that. Please put them in down below on there. I do think this is something that is something that we could spur a lot of emotion out of people. Like I said, it does spur emotion out of people. Everyone has a belief. Somebody may have talked to somebody else about that helped get a program or a DPT, going forward. And I think that would be great to hear some of that. And I think that's also what gets lost, that we don't get to hear from the people in the groups that were pushing this so long ago. What were they thinking? Let's get that out. And, again, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team. Okay. Let's just say that we're all on the same team. We're not enemies. Okay. We're all on the same team. Well, like I said, thank you so much. If you like it, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all next time.